Hello and welcome back. I have here with me senior program manager for this segment. I have Ryan and Hemung. How you doing, my friends?
Doing well.
And the title is so fun. It's Waiter, There's Some Power Apps in My Azure. And who wrote that? That's awesome.
I think I did. I think I had some Seattle's best brownies that morning,
Oh,
and so
wow.
Well,
I
that's
love
not
it.
true. We only have coffee at the office.
That's true.
but-
That's true. So let's talk a little bit about Power Apps because obviously I heard Power Apps in a previous segment, and if I don't know anything about Power Apps, will you describe what it is so we can get started here?
Of course, totally. So with Power Apps, we have two goals really. Number one is to enable the next bajillion developers by making things that were very, very difficult, that sometimes were out of reach of people who couldn't code, and make it easier for them. Okay? The other thing that we're looking to do is for people who are already professional developers, how can we make it easy for them to be highly productive?
Right.
How can we take all of the awesome things that Azure makes available as like building blocks or low-level details, and how can we wire them up all together
Right.
so that people can build apps really quickly, easily, and efficiently?
So when you said a lot of nice things, is there like specific products that align to that, or
Yeah.
tell us about that?
Well, so when we think about like at the lowest layer, when you think about common data service, right, it's all about storing stuff, right? I have to store things. And so there's a broad set of Azure storage services that we use to run, build, and operate the common data service. So these are things like Azure SQL, Azure Storage, Cosmos DB, Azure Search, and then we use VM scale sets for all of our compute, Service Fabric for orchestrating all our workloads over the top of that. So yeah, all sorts of stuff glued up together in a nice little package.
So so when I say Power Apps, is that the same as Logic Apps?
Actually,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is where I get confusion. So maybe
Yeah, no, great question. And so when we think about the Power Platform family of products, there's a couple things in there, right? One is Power BI, which is reporting,
Right.
analytics, so on and so forth. I think we know what that one is. So
Right.
let's cross that one off the list. The next one that we have is the Common Data Service. That's really where we try to bring structure to business critical data so that you can build applications and processes over the top of them.
I see.
You then take Power Apps, which is how do I actually build my experiences over the top of that data. And then I have Flows, which is how do I build the business processes over that data. And so like within the portfolio, the closest thing between Logic Apps and like Power Platform would be Flows. But really like Logic Apps is meant for pro devs, while Flows is meant for like Bob in accounting or Suzanne in finance.
I see. So it's a way for people that are like adjacent to developers also be able to do stuff with a common data service and then wrap stuff around it.
Exactly. Would you like me to show you?
I would love to see that. I feel like if you showed me stuff, I'd know a little bit more.
Yes. So here's my example. I'm not a developer. You guys will be able to tell that when you see my code. And I'm going to show you how I have defined a little simple app. It's about how my family and I can track the places that we've been and tag photos with information about that stuff.
All right, so let's go to your screen.
Yes. So first thing, simple app. There are really only three pieces of data that I care about. One is contacts.
Okay.
These include me, my wife, and my two little girls. They're awesome. Okay? And so the thing is, what's interesting here is this actually comes out of the box from the Common Data Service. I didn't have to define the structure of this.
Wait, so I'm looking at this, and it looks like you made a database without making a database.
Exactly.
Like, how did you do that? I mean, is there you just go to Power App? Is this something in O365? Like, I'm trying to figure out where I can go this to, because this feels like what I used Access for a long time ago, but better.
Yes, exactly. You go to make.powerapps.com,
Okay.
and you whip up this stuff in the Common Data Service.
And if you have an Office 365 account, it's already part of what you do, or do you have to? Is there something else you have to do?
It requires P1 or P2 Power Apps license.
Okay,
So
okay,
it's
cool.
above Office.
Cool.
So, but like, let's say I wanted to add a new thing called cool new field. I could do just that. And all of a sudden it knows, oh, based on the data type right here, I need to store that in the relational store versus the non-relational store versus some other place altogether.
I see.
And when I click searchable, it's like, oh, I need to dump that into Azure Search, so on and so forth. All sorts of cool stuff.
And this is the Common Data Service.
That's the Common Data Service, yeah. And so what's really cool about this is everything that I click in here exposes a bunch of APIs that I can consume from the language of my choice. And so we're running tight on time, and I'm not going to show you all of this, but I do have over here simple application that consumes my web API, uses ADAL for authentication, turns around and sends a bunch of gets to get information, posts to create new records, so on and so forth. and it just works. It's super simple. It's super easy. I'm not needing to go through and create all those building blocks. I just kind of say, hey, I want this data to be stored.
That's really cool. So you talked about it from a non-Devi type side, but you showed a little bit of a code, but it's really cool how easy it is to get started with a common data service. That's amazing.
Yes.
And then you can access all this common data service from all the other Power Apps family of things.
That's exactly right. And so what we have is a way that you can consume all those OData or those RESTful APIs from either model-driven apps and Canvas apps. And those are built to a set of controls that we provide out of the box. But what we've been able to do more recently is expand that to a much broader audience.
Awesome.
Actually, I think that's where a lot of people here will be super interested.
Cool.
So,
and I think that brings us to the next thing, because you said, Seth, asking about the Power Apps component framework. So tell us all about that, Himang.
Yeah. So PowerApps Component Framework, we just released the preview a couple of weeks ago. It's a very powerful framework which enables the professional developers to build the components which are well integrated within the Power Apps. So not just out-of-box controls, which today low-code developers can go and configure. As a pro dev, you can create controls which are specific to certain scenarios, or you really want to take the app to the next level.
Awesome. Awesome. Will we have something to show us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. All right, let's go to your screen, because I'm excited to see, because now the Devi part starts where we can actually do some customization of some of the stuff in there, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's go to your screen and see if we can get that.
Okay, so as I said, we just released the preview for PowerApps Component Framework. We aspire to make this component available both on model and Canvas apps. So these are two types of app which can be built on top of CDS.
Got it.
And the core power of the framework is that once you develop the component, it can be used on both type of apps. So once you develop a map control, for example, you can, as a low-code developer, just drag and drop it both on Canvas and model apps.
Fantastic. All right, so let's get his screen, because I want to make sure everyone can see Himang's screen there, so that we can get it up there. What is it like to develop something for the Power Apps component framework as a dev? Like, what am I actually building? Is it a web thing? Is it like some other special thing? Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, Power Apps Component Framework is a client-side framework to build the client controls. But that doesn't mean that you are restricted to using the client-side capabilities. With the offerings from Azure, you can use cognitive services or other Azure services using the REST endpoint and render the data into your control.
I see.
Also, all the objects on the client side, like Azure Maps, for example, you can bring it as a Power Apps Component Framework control into the CDS model or Canvas app. Once you have the map object into your code, you can access the mapping APIs and also the CDS API.
I see. So it's a way of mapping to other Azure services and having them be able to be consumed in the common data service. Is that right?
Exactly. That's one of the use cases.
Okay, so what are the other uses? I understand that part, but I'm trying to get a sense for what this does, because it sounds like a lot of amazing stuff.
Yeah, sure. So, for example, if you have a beautiful visualization library in JavaScript or TypeScript, and you want to bring those controls as a PCF control into the Canvas app, so what you can do is, as a professional developer, you can include those libraries into your control, package them as a CDS solution, and then these controls will be available as configurable components for everyone.
I see. So it's a way of being able to get like visualizations.
Exactly.
And so the developer can make them. So let's just say you're Acme Corporation and you sell TNT to Coyotes, for example. You might want to have your own visualization of where these are all being bought for, and then you can have that inside of your common data service, among other things. All right. So do we have his computer screen here so we can take a look at it? Not yet. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about, like, if someone wants to get started with using the Power Apps Component Framework, what would they do to do that?
Okay, so we also released a powerful set of CLI tool to get people started. So with a single line of command using the CLI tools, you will get the entire structure for what it takes to build a custom control.
I see.
And then once you have the control, you can write your logic on how it will fetch the data from the CDS context and then light it up. For example, taking Ryan's example, if there is an entity in CDS which maps the images and longitude and latitude to put the location of those items, as a developer of the custom controls, instead of showing this as a record in the grid, what I can do is I can instead show it as a map. So all these individual points show up as pins.
Cool. So when you're doing something not as a developer, and you bring up a way of talking about like this data, there's a different and alternative way of doing it. That's pretty amazing. So we've got about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So hopefully, hopefully as we talk about this, we might get a screenshot there. But if not, we'll put screenshots of this afterwards because it sounds amazing. If people want to get started with this technology, where can they go to learn about it?
So we released a blog on PowerApps blog, so you can go there. It has pointers to lots of sample controls. It's just been a couple of weeks, but we have seen a lot of people building their own controls.
That's
and pushing
amazing.
to NPM. So, and then there is a forum for PowerApps Component Framework. So just post a question, and my engineering team and me, we are always monitoring. So,
Yeah.
that's a great place to start.
We'll make sure to add links to this session below so people can go to it. It looks like you brought it up on your screen. We have it up on a screen. If we can put it up on the screen that does, we do have. You can see the blog post. You can see all the amazing things. So, all right. So we have about 40 seconds left.
I think it's my screen.
Oh, you got your screen now.
Okay, so I'll show you some of the
So
cool
you
stuff.
have about 20 seconds.
Okay.
Show us the screen.
Okay, so as I said, like you can see these samples from Azure. What I've done is brought those samples into Dynamics as Dynamics control. So as you can see, these things inherently are grids. They are records on the CDS system, but I've replaced them with data sets. So now you can visualize them as map, bubble charts, all the capabilities which Azure provides.
Awesome.
Similarly, if I go to account record, you can see the core grid is now replaced by a map. In the map, I can see my location being dropped as a pin, and all the APIs Azure is providing, I can use them right from within the app.
Well, I'm glad we got the screen up. This is very exciting. I'm excited to look at it myself, a way to do stuff with my own family, with my own whatever I work on at home. It's cool because I have a lot of stuff to do at home. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. Thanks so much for watching. I'm pretty excited about this. Hopefully you are too. And my name is Seth Juarez. We'll see you next time.
Cool. Thanks for having us.